Thank you very much. First of all, I'm delighted to come to a meeting that's bloody packed out to the rafters. What a change. Because we've been to some places and there's only been me and Irene and the caretaker waiting to lock up. But I am delighted, and also the reason I wanted to come today, the reason I asked to come today is not that I've got any more knowledge than these guys. These fellas have probably got all the facts and the figures. I haven't. I just want to talk a couple of minutes about Shrewsbury because it really is important, because it's been a long battle, and I think this battle now that we've got with this government, I think it's going to be a bit of a battle because we've got to change certain things before the Labour Party get in. Because, as you say, Ed Balls this morning said he's going to carry on with this shit that these fellas have dished out for us. But we've got to make sure that he doesn't. We've got to make sure that we're not going to allow him to carry on with these cuts. But what I wanted to do is come here today to say thank you for the support that you've given us over the years during the Shrewsbury campaign, because it's been a long, hard battle. It's been 40 years, and it's had a dreadful impact on some of our lives. It's caused divorces, families to fall out, etc. And Terry Renshaw, sitting down there in the audience, he was one of the lads who only got a suspended sentence, by the way. All he got was a suspended sentence. He's been on the police committee in Flint, where he lives. He's been the Lord Mayor of the town, and he's been a city councillor. And yet he can't get a passport to go to America because of that stain on his character 40 years ago. And how I know it's true is because it took me 2 years to get a passport to go to America for a little holiday. And it meant I had to go to Belfast twice, to the American embassy, because they said, well, look, you've got a criminal record, but the crime, the law that you were done under no longer exists. America's got nothing to compare it with, so we don't know what the bloody hell to do. But anyway, in the end, they give me one. And when they give me a visa, they give me a 10-year one. So it doesn't make bloody sense. So they must have liked me a bit more than you said. We went down to Parliament on Thursday, and we had the most wonderful time with Dennis Skinner giving not a speech, he gave a performance. He gave a performance. And the Speaker of the House had to apologise to the next speaker and said, I'm afraid you're going to have to follow that. Skinner was absolutely wonderful. And you know what? There was only two people who spoke against us. And one of them was the MP for Aldershot, Sir whatever his name was. And he was saying, during 1972, the country was on attack from the communists everywhere. There were strikes, there was the miners, there was the dock workers, there was the railway. He said we were under attack. He said so much so that me and my newly married wife, he said, we started stocking food in the cupboards. And Skinner shouted out, did you get them from a food bank? They don't miss a trick. And everything we've gained over the years, they've clawed back. And they're going to keep clawing it back unless we do something about it. Now, as I say, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, comrades, I haven't got all the facts and figures, so I'm just going to be 2 minutes to tell you what I think austerity means to me. I'm an ordinary working class lad. I've been a little bit lucky and I've made a few bob, but by God, I've never forgotten my roots. And people say to me, how come you keep your feet on the ground? I said, if you knew my three brothers, you'd know why I keep my bloody feet on the ground. There's no airs and graces where I come from. I was raised in the 2 up, 2 down. My mum done 3 jobs to keep her 4 lads, and my dad worked as a baker 27 years on night shift. So I know what it is to graft, I know what it is to be blacklisted, and I know what it is to go to jail, and I know what it is not to give in, and we're not going to give in over this either. We're not going to give in. Thank you very much. Anyway, austerity, it's a fancy word for cuts, and stuff the working class. That's what it means. It means no pay rises because we're greedy bastards. We want a few bob, we want to feed our kids, we want to put the central heating on, we want to watch the television, and now and again, if we can save, we want to go away on a little holiday. But no, we've got to spend more time and think of the poor bankers. Because you know the bankers are suffering as well this year. Because you know the millionaires wanted 200% bonus this year and they've cut them down to 100%. They're only getting another £1 million, that's all. Spare a thought for them. Maybe set up a few food banks in Virginia Waters or whatever it is, bloody Chelsea. Austerity's a terrible bloody thing. And what about the cuts to the National Health? We're 20,000 nurses short. 20,000 nurses short. And now they're saying there should be no treatment for cancer if you're over the age of 65. Well, I wish they'd have said that to the likes of Winston Churchill and Douglas Hume and people like that, people who've got us in this shit in the first place. No treatment if you're over 65. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. I had the 4-way bypasses, I don't know, I was 70 or 71. Or something like that. And I think I'm entitled to it. And I think anyone who's worked all their life and paid into the system is entitled to the best treatment till the bloody day they die, not till they're just 65. And then we've got the cuts. We've got the cuts to care homes. They've got people in there looking after the elderly, the old and the infirm, and those with dementia. We've got no qualifications whatsoever. I think it's a disgrace. And then we've got the cuts to the benefits. Everyone knows about benefits, and about, you know. But what they're doing now, they're having these tests, aren't they, to see whether you're fit for work. They're seeing whether you're fit for work. People are actually dying in the waiting rooms, waiting to be examined. One woman collapsed, she was examined, went outside the door and collapsed, she was dead, but she'd been passed fit for work. Well, do you know, if they are all fit for work, where's the jobs for them? There's no jobs. So they may as well leave them where they are. But no, it's another get back, grab that back, get that money back off them. Let's show them who's in charge. So that's what they do. And then education. There's cuts to education. Now, I don't know whether you know a lot about these free schools and stuff like that, but if you don't, you should look into it. Because Everton Football Club's got one. Everton Football Club's got a free school. And in these free schools, teachers don't even have to have qualifications. It's ridiculous. So it's the uneducated teaching the uneducated. I want the best for my grandson. My kids are grown up. We're already putting his university money away now. He's 9 years of age this month. But what chance have ordinary people got of paying £9,000 a term for their kids or their grandkids to go and get an education to compete with them bastards from the city whose kids automatically go? Hey, some of them privileged kids pay £20,000 a term. We can't compete with them. The only way we can compete with them is to have a proper comprehensive education where they're all taught the same. And we should fight about it, we should kick about it. Now, austerity means paying a bedroom tax. A bedroom tax, so if you've worked all your life, you've made your home exactly as you want it, you've reared your children to the best of your ability, and if they decide to get married or to flee the nest, you're going to get penalised. Well, I know a woman who lives in London, and she's got about 65 bedrooms, and I don't think, she pays nothing. There's an old gag in Liverpool, you know, they say, London's a shithole, but the Queen's place is a palace, and it's true. But I tell you what it is, it's appalling. It makes me angry. It really makes me angry. To say food banks. I was at one about a fortnight ago with Eileen in Liverpool, and it was teeming down with rain. And it was in a church hall. We went in, and it was wonderful the way the people were working there. And a lad come in his oilskins and a sou'wester, and he looked at me, and his eyes were dead. His eyes were dead, and he looked at me, and he went, "All right, Rick." And I went, "All right, lad." He said, "You don't know me, do you? You don't recognise me?" I said, "I don't, you know." And he went, he said, "I worked with you on the site." He said, "I'm a time-saved joiner." I said, "Bloody hell." I said, "How are you doing?" He broke down. A tradesman, skilled joiner, waiting, cap in hand, for a couple of bags of food. Now, that's bad enough. But when you realise there's 250,000 building workers out of work, there's 1 million people wanting homes, and there's tons of brown belt and all of that of it, and we won't build houses for them, give them jobs and give them homes. What's wrong? It's a simple equation. But before I finish, boys and girls, I just want to ask you a little question, because I'm not the brightest sparks. I was a plasterer by trade. I had a college education, but it was what they called a technical college education, because I was born in 1939, and by the time I went to college at 13, the war had been over a few years, and all the houses were flattened, so there was loads of work. And I left school on the Friday and started work as an apprentice plasterer on the Monday. Loads of work, could change your job if you wanted to and all the rest of it. But what I want to know is this. Please help me if you can. If Spain's broke, and France is skint, and Italy's skint, and we're skint, who do we owe the money to? Who do we owe? I don't know. I don't know. Is it Wonga.com? Is it payday loans? I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, we should say, fuck you, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. I'll tell you who owns it. I'll tell you who owns that money. It's the World Bank. And they've made fortunes and empires by the stroke of a pen. They haven't done a hard day's toil in their life. So let's do this. And I promise you I'll be there. We want to demonstrate against these cuts, but don't all go to London. Don't spend tens and tens of thousands of pounds getting trains and coaches and cars going to London where they show you where you can walk and where you can't walk. Let's have a demonstration in every major city in Great Britain on the same day so the police can't control us, tell us where to go and what to do. Support the campaign!